So we're gonna rate every single Overwatch 2 hero, but with a twist. We're gonna rate them based on how easy or hard they are to play. Easy to play, in my opinion, are heroes are easy to provide a lot of value. Hard to play heroes are heroes that require a lot of your own effort to get the most value out of the hero. I tried to make it so it's an average of all ranks, because some heroes are really easy to play on low ranks and really hard on high ranks. There's some heroes that are really bad in low ranks and then really good in high ranks, like Sojourn for example. Please don't hate me for this. Don't take it too serious, and let's go. Ana. Ana is a pretty hard character to play, I would say, in all ranks. She's probably one of the hardest supports in the game. I would say she's pretty hard to play in high ranks, pretty hard to play in low ranks. I want to put her in very hard. She provides a decent amount of value if you don't hit every ability, but stuff like Sleep Dart and Anti can obviously carry fights, and it's really big to hit those, and they're not the easiest abilities to hit, especially Sleep Dart, okay? Ashe. So the thing with Ashe is you can play her pretty easily. And just hit dynamites and get bobs really fast and shoot a lot of bodies, and you'll already get a lot of value. Of course, if you pop off and hit all the headshots, she becomes insanely strong. But you can play a very, mediocre Ashe and still get a decent amount of value. I wouldn't quite put her in easy tier. I'll put her in medium. She's pretty easy, I would say. Bapiste. Easy tier. Hate on me all you want. Immortality, you press a button, it's a big AoE, you can be out of position at all times, you don't really need to play with your brain. If you just heal, if you just have good immortalities on Bap, he's really easy to play. Not much behind him. Of course, if you hit all your left clicks, you can carry harder, but even in GM, there's people running around with no aim that just that are sitting out of position and they press an immortality field and it's over. Bastion! Bastion is pretty easy to get value out of. I think he's actually one of the best characters to climb right now on lower ranks. Like all the way up to Masters. People don't know how to play against him. All you gotta do is walk in, go into your turret form, shoot them down. He's really tanky now in Overwatch 2. He's actually quite solid, honestly. Up until the, mid-Masters, I think he's a really good carry character. I'm gonna put him in easy, actually. I think that's a fair rating for Bastion. Brigitte. Balance-wise right now, pretty bad character, obviously. Positioning-wise, I have to say, though, she's not the easiest to play. I think on low ranks, where people don't really know how to position, you can get a lot of value by just walking in, On high ranks, if you're out of position, you die very easily right now. I think that's partially due to her being pretty weak right now. Is she really hard? Nope. She's on the easier side still. Not the hardest character to play.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Cassidy, definitely harder than Ashe. If you don't hit your left clicks in Overwatch 2 on Cassidy, you die. That being said, I do know that the new Incendiary Nade, or whatever you call it, it's a really easy ability to hit, right? It's basically auto-aim. On low ranks, I'm pretty sure you can just run people down with right-click and Molotov. If you don't hit your normal left clicks, you don't really get a lot of value. I'm still gonna put him in medium. He's pretty easy. Doomfist. Doomfist definitely got easier in Overwatch 2. He's a tank now, he's not a DPS anymore, right? I don't want to say he's an easy tank to play, but compared to his Overwatch 1 skill ceiling, he's easier to play for sure. They made his abilities simpler, there's less of them, there's less movement, and I think most Doomfist mains like Zebra or Quakedown would agree. Tank Doomfist is pretty easy to play compared to his Overwatch 1. I think overall, as a tank, he's still pretty hard to play. I'm gonna put him in hard tier, so right in the middle of the line. I think he's pretty hard. He's not the hardest character mechanically, but also not the easiest. D.Va. I think D.Va in Overwatch 1 was really hard to play because you had to play as an off-tank. So your job was very complicated because you had to be at the exact right spot at the exact right time all the time, basically. I think she's a bit easier now in Overwatch 2. You have more Matrix and you're the only tank, so usually you commit. You either go in, right, or you peel for your healers, but that's about it. I don't think she's that mechanically complicated. She doesn't require a lot of really good aim. That being said, she does have a lot of movement potential, so you can definitely carry pretty hard on her in low and on high ranks. Echo, technically the hardest character in the game. It's every character in the game. That being said, if you look at Echo without the ult, she's still pretty hard to play, right? But based on the fact that the ult is basically every character, the ult has an infinite skill ceiling. Nobody can be harder to play than Echo in that sense. I think she's pretty hard, yeah. I think on a high level, really good Echoes can hard carry. On low level, I think she's pretty hard to get used to. Like, she's not straightforward, right? Like, if you laser at the wrong time, if you jump in at the wrong time, or if you have bad movement, you die really easily. I think she's a very hard character to learn, and I think she's a very hard character to master. I'll put her in the hardest tier. Genji. Genji is insanely hard to play. He has really, really high skill ceiling abilities. Pretty aim intensive. He's very fast paced. He requires split second decision making. Top 4 hardest characters to play in the game, in my opinion. Genji is a hard character, and yeah, I know people are gonna complain, but Nanoblade is so easy. It's frustrating to die to Nanoblade. I know people in lower ranks are complaining about it a lot. It can be really, really tough, right? If you don't have a defensive ult and the enemy Genji Nanoblades you, you're dead. That doesn't mean it was easy for him to get there. It might feel like it's unrewarding for you because you died, but I think he's very hard to play. Hanzo!
That's true, and yeah, that's true. That's true.
Here's the thing with Hanzo, right? There's a few Hanzo mains, like Arge and Raksu, that are just insane at the hero. And it's really, really hard to hit the arrows. That being said, 99% of Hanzos on ladder, including Grandmaster Hanzos, all they do is sit in a choke and spam the arrows. They don't have particularly good aim. I think the hero is just really fucking easy. You spam the arrows, you spam the storm arrows on close range. So if someone contests you close range, all you do is blah, 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 blah. You don't have to be insanely precise. They're probably gonna die, right? Long range, you sometimes spam around the corner, you don't even see anyone and you get a free headshot. I think he's pretty fucking easy. Junkrat Queen. She has been not the greatest, right? She's a pretty weak tank. But mechanically, like if you look at how hard the movement and the aim is on the character, really, really hard. If you technically hit all of your knife throws, you're gonna hard carry the game. You're gonna kill everyone on the other team. Nobody hits all of their knife throws, right? It's a hard ability to hit. Arguably, the only easy abilities of her are the E, like the big axe and the ult. Everything else requires aim. You need to be aware of when you can push in, when you're overcommitting. You don't have a shield, so, and you can't fly back like a D.Va, right? If you're committed at the wrong time, you're dead. I think she's really, really hard. This character requires no brain, no skill. It's a fat DPS. Roadhog is when you want to play DPS, but you have no aim and no positioning. Roadhog has a free button that can heal him to full whenever he's in danger. You can be out of position, you press a button, you're fine. You don't need aim. The hook is ridiculous. It hits everything on the map for free. You can literally miss and you will still hit the hook. You hook people behind cards. The easiest character in the game by far. I hate the character. I think Roadhog needs a complete rework. I hate Roadhog. Did I mention I hate it? Yeah, the character is easy. You're not protecting your team. You're a selfish prick. And you press a button to get a free kill. Alright. Junkrat, easy tier. Most of the kills on Junkrat are spamming into the general direction of the opponent and hitting random mines, hitting random traps. You don't need aim for your left click. It's an insanely big projectile that's really hard to miss, honestly. You don't need aim for your mine, right? It has a really big AoE. Tire is not hard to use. Arguably the easiest DPS in the game. No hate. I can respect that. Junkrat is fun to play, but you know, I don't think it's particularly hard. Which also means, by the way, if you want to climb on lower ranks, I think if you just play Junkrat and, you know, spam down the chokes and you know where enemies can come from, probably easy as R. Kiriko. Yeah, the thumbnail was kind of clickbait, right? Like, I put Kiriko in easiest. She's the hardest healer in the game by far. Even on the highest level, I still see Kiriko's absolutely sucking with her. You could say, oh, she's a new-ish character, and that's why people still need to get the hang of her. But I think she's insanely hard to get the maximum value out of her. But if you get the value, right, if you're a Kiriko god, you're the hardest support carry in the game by far too, right? She has the best ult. Her left click is infinite skill ceiling. If you hit headshots, you kill everyone. You have to decide when to heal or to shoot. You have to decide if you want to TP, where you want to TP. It's non-stop action. I love the character. I'm a DPS main myself, but Kiriko is an insanely fun character. And I think it's what Overwatch characters should be. Hard to learn, hard to master, but also insanely rewarding if you master them well. Kiriko mains, my applause. Lucio! I mean, Lucio is not really super aim intensive, right? So if we're talking aim mechanics, he's pretty easy. The movement on Lucio is unlike anything else in the game we have, right? Like, you can do insane rollouts that you have to practice like 20 million hours for. if you're aware of where the enemy is, you have so many decisions you need to make. Like, are you gonna peel for your team? Are you gonna go in? Who are you gonna boop? Where are you gonna boop? I think he's very close to Anna, and that goes for both low and high ranks. I think you need to pull quite a lot of work to get a lot of value out of him in low and high ranks. That being said, he's really meta right now, he's really good. Lucio has always been good in Overwatch. Like, he has some metas where he's not the best, but he's always like top tier supports. And I think learning Lucio is just really valuable. Sorry, mains. Left click, obviously, you can't miss, basically. It's a really big AoE. The only thing you have to keep in mind about shift clicking is when to use it. The wall is kind of the make or break of the character, but I wouldn't say it's really hard to place a wall either, right? You just gotta be smart about it. So I think mechanically, she's pretty easy. Overall, she's still harder than like the easy tier DPS if I compare her to the other DPS. Like, she requires some brain cells. I don't know how good she is on low rank currently. I know she's really bad on high rank. She's okay. This is gonna be another my chat, every time I defend Mercy mains in my chat, people hate me for it. I think she's one of the hardest supports to play in the game. I think, here, I'll say it. Yes, Mercy is harder to play in my opinion than Brigitte and also Bapiste. I think you have to be insanely smart at how to move. The movement is not the easiest in the game. You have to be super decisive about if you're gonna res, when you're gonna res, or if you're gonna heal damage boost, or if you go for damage boosting your DPS that's ulting right now, or resing instead. Most Mercy mains, when they solo queue, right? It is really, really hard for a really good Mercy to get into GM by herself by just playing. I know there's this meme about, oh, Mercy mains just being boosted by DPS, right? But solo queue Mercy, really hard to play in my opinion. And the Mercies that are in GM by playing Mercy only and playing solo definitely deserve it. I think she's a pretty hard character to play. Hate me all you want, that's my opinion. Moira, yep, easy tier. The only support that's even easier to play than Bapiste. Yeah, you don't need any mouse control, right? Like, the healing is your entire screen. The damage is your entire screen. The orb, you don't need to be super precise with. You have a button where you can teleport in and out to anywhere you want and get out for free or get in for free. Compared to other healers, she's just really easy to play. That doesn't make you a bad person for playing Moira. If you enjoy playing Moira, all power to you. I actually enjoy having Moiras on my team right now. I think she's really fun to play with. Like, if the Moira heals me properly and doesn't just DPS, it's a good game. Probably the best support character to climb with right now, in low ranks at least, up to Masters or up to GM even. Because again, if you do your job correctly, you will carry games on Moira. What people seem to forget when I talk about easy and hard is, it doesn't matter if you have sick plays on Kiriko, if you can do that 20% of the time. If you can play almost perfect on Moira 95% of the time, you're gonna carry like almost every game, right? Or you're gonna do your job almost 95% of the game. That's why I always recommend, dude, like, if you're getting into the game, if you don't mind the playstyle of Moira, play Moira. She's pretty easy. Yo, actually, I want to know one thing. I'm really curious about how many people are actually completely new to Overwatch 2, or how many people have played Overwatch 1, because I think there's a ton of new players. Let me know. Orisa in Overwatch 2 is a pretty fast rush tank, something like the Javelin Spear. Pretty hard ability to hit, can carry fights, right? The aiming is not the easiest anymore. Overall, her toolkit is very fast, very fluid. So movement is on a fight-to-fight basis. You always want to move. You constantly want to be smart about how you move. So the movement on Orisa is pretty hard. I think the aiming is not the easiest. And the skill shot, the Javelin, is really important to hit and not the easiest to hit. I think she's a pretty hard character. Pharah. I think Pharah is one of those characters that plays unlike anything else in the game. I think Pharah, you just gotta put a lot of time onto the character to play the character. If you're not smart about where you are, you die very easily to hit scans like Widow. There is this like top 1% of Pharahs, right? Like Yizan or Valkyria back in the day that were like really, really good at hitting like direct rockets. And if you're good at that, that's really hard to pull off consistently. And only very few Pharahs can do that. The other 99% of Pharahs play for spam and splash damage, which then the rocket is not that hard to hit, right? And the movement on Pharah is also not the hardest. Like, you're very limited in what you can do with your fly, other than your E, where you can, like, you know, relocate fast. Like, if I put Cassidy medium, I'll also put Pharah in medium. Reaper! I mean, easy character, right? Doesn't require a lot of aim. Like it's pretty important on where you engage and when you engage on Reaper. But mechanically, he's a pretty easy hero. I think he's one of the best DPS to climb in lower ranks for sure. Like together with Bastion, all you do is hit your shots somewhat consistently. He's a tank buster. He eats tanks for breakfast. That being said, he still has a skill ceiling, right? Like if I rated him on high rank only, I would put him probably a bit higher, like medium or hard. But he's very easy in low ranks because low rank players miss a lot of shots. So something like Reaper becomes really, really good because he also regens every time he deals damage. So I know in low ranks, Reaper is a menace. Reinhardt, like some players are saying he's like really hard because like the Rein v Rein matchup, right? Like blocking shatters. And I agree. I think a Rein v Rein matchup is like a very skill-based matchup. And the better Rein almost always wins. But here's the thing, in Overwatch 2, Rein is rarely being played. So most of the time, Rein goes up against another tank like D.Va, Zarya, or now like a monkey. And then he becomes a shield bot kinda, right? Obviously, he's not super mechanically demanding with his swing, right? You can't really miss that. Or the fire strike is also pretty big. And in other matchups, I'd say he becomes pretty shield body. Which doesn't mean he's easy, but you can't really do much other than like, you know, hit a sick charge. I'll put him in medium. I think that's fair for Reinhardt. I think this tier list was a really bad idea. Like everyone's gonna fucking hate me. Sigma, easy tank. Like he's not quite Roadhog, okay? Like I don't hate him as much as Roadhog. I think I hate him because he was really good in Overwatch 1 with double shield. The character is just, he does everything. And like you don't really have to do much to get value, right? You put your shield in front of you, and then you shoot in the general direction of the opponent. They're gonna die or they're gonna back out. The rock is insanely big. It's not that hard to hit. I'm sorry, Sigma mains. I've seen your montages on YouTube where you go, wow, I hit the sickest. It's a really big hitbox, okay? And then when your shield drops, when your shield is broken, and you're out of position, you press shift and you can just eat all the bullets and you get HP back and then you have another shield. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not really good right now, but like once he becomes good, he just does everything, man. Okay, I'll put him in medium. There is some skill to it, don't get me wrong. Sojourn. Okay, I'm gonna pull out stats, okay? The reason Blizzard didn't nerf her in the first season, even though she's completely overpowered on high ranks, is because she has below 50% win rate on every rank up to Masters, right? Which means if you're not Masters Plus, on average you can play another DPS and probably do better. I do think that Sojourn is very, very hard to play. She's very, very hard to play. If you play Sojourn perfectly, you can kill the entire enemy team over and over. And that's why you see a lot of pro players and high-level streamers or players complain about the character. That's why the entire leaderboard, the top 200, 500, is all Sojourns because she's so good. When you play her well, like she's OP, she's overpowered, okay? Don't mistake overpowered with being easy, because I think in order to make her overpowered, you need to play good. It's hard to hit every railgun headshot, but if you hit every railgun headshot, she's overpowered, she kills everything. You know, on low ranks, she's not that good right now, because people miss with the railgun all the time. She has insanely high movement skill ceiling, she has insanely high aim skill ceiling, right? Like you need to transition from projectile aim to railguns. The ult is insanely high skill ceiling, right? Like if you aimbot, if you have perfect aim, you can kill everyone. But you can also miss everyone and do nothing. I think she's one of the hardest characters to play in the game. Don't let this take away from the fact she's OP. But even if they nerf her really hard and she's gonna turn into one of the worst characters in the game, she's still gonna be insanely hard to play. She's a hard character. Soldier. I'm biased. I'm a Soldier man. People call Soldier the tutorial character, right? He is very easy to get into. I think on lower ranks, if we're talking about lower ranks only, Soldier is one of the easiest DPS. All you have to do is point and click. That being said, there is a reason there's not a lot of Soldier players in top 500. Perfect tracking, perfect mechanics require a lot of skill. Yeah, I'll put him in medium. I think he's very easy to play on lower ranks. Like once you get used to him, he can do a lot for free. He has his own healing. He's not the easiest character in the game. He's right down middle of the line. Sombra. Sombra got nerfed, right? She was really overpowered before the nerf. I'll put her in medium as well. Requires aim, requires decent positioning, requires knowledge of where the enemy is, even though you can see them because you're invis. She does require split-second decision making. She's not the hardest, not the easiest. I'll put her right in the middle down the line. Symmetra, I think, is a hard character.
You're not an intellectual. You're a fake and a fraud.
She is the worst, arguably the worst DPS in the game right now. She's really weak. I see almost no Symmetra play anymore because she's just really bad right now. Hopefully she's gonna get patched. That being said, I do think Symmetra requires a decent amount of knowledge. She's very intricate in how she plays. Symmetra plays like any other character in the game. Like, she's very different than other characters. This doesn't seem correct though. No. We can't give Stevo the satisfaction to make Soldier easier to play than Symmetra. I don't think she requires as much aim as other characters. In fact, I'll put it down here. Torbjorn, another easy character. He has a turret. The turret auto aims for you. If you position it in a decent spot, half of your job is basically done. The turret carries in low ranks and in high ranks. It's actually silly. Like, sometimes I play in GM and the turret does more than the enemy team, or the turret does more than my team. I think he's very easy to play. Like, all you have to do is spam down chokes, not really aim intensive. Don't get me wrong. There are a few Torbs that have really insane projectile predictions that make the left click really valuable, but most of the time you just when you get close, you right click the tank, right? He's all about knowing where to put the turret. I think he's a very good character to climb, up until Masters at least. Tracer! Hardest character in the game. Tracer has always been, I think, the hardest character to master in Overwatch. Tracking, you need insane aim, you need insane movement, you need insane mechanics otherwise, blink melees, blink pulse bombs, you need insane reaction time to react to stuns coming your way, to recall, to blink away, etc. You also need to be aware of where every single person on the other team is at all times, because everything in the game can kill you in one shot. You are the only 150 HP character in the game, other than Baby D.Va. So you die to basically everything. You die to sleep darts, right? You die to a Lucio, like double headshot or triple headshot. You die to Zen headshots. You die to one Genji right click. You die to a soldier rocket melee. You get the point, right? Like, you die to everything in the game. And that's why you have to be aware of everything in the game. If you play Tracer perfectly, she's also one of the hardest carries in the game, right? A Tracer that plays perfectly on paper cannot be beaten, because you can't kill them if they would always perfectly blink. Even up to Overwatch League level, nobody can play Tracer perfectly. The highest skill ceiling in the game, and she's the hardest character in the game, in my opinion. Widowmaker. Just point and click, man. She doesn't require a lot of good movement, right? But she does require awareness, and she does require really, really good mechanical aim. On Sojourn, you have to worry about your movement constantly. You have to worry about your aim constantly, whereas Widow is pretty, I don't want to say relaxed, because I know you can get pressured by the enemy tank or by a Sombra, but once you're in position, you aim down your sights, and you hit the headshot, or you don't. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm not saying it's also the hardest. She's right down in the middle. Monkey! People think Monkey is easy, right? Because, you jump in and you bubble, and then the left click auto aims for you. You kind of need to be really, really smart with where you jump, when you jump, and the ult is actually one of the most mechanically demanding ults. If you watch people like Boger play Monkey, right, what they pull off with the ult is insane, and no normal human being could do that. You have infinite skill ceiling, at least on the ult. The rest of the kit is pretty straightforward, but now in Overwatch 2 he also has the right click, where you can snipe and deal some extra damage, which also requires aim. I think Monkey is a very hard character. Okay, Wrecking Ball. He just rolls around, and he's annoying, and then he slams people, and then he's more annoying, and then he's annoying, and that's all he does. Some balls perfected the art of being annoying. But is he super hard mechanically? Like, on the highest skill thing he is. Even in GM, there's very mediocre up to /bad balls that just get free value by rolling around, pressing a few buttons. I don't think he's very hard. I'm not gonna put him in easy tier, but I don't think he's that hard. Zarya. I'll put her right in the middle. I think she's like the most well-balanced character in terms of ease of use. You don't need insanely precise aim. You don't need insanely precise reaction time. She's right down the middle. Zenyatta, mechanically aim-wise, probably the second hardest support after Kiriko, because if you don't hit your left clicks or your right click with Zenyatta, you may as very well play any other support basically, right? You need to hit your shots. I'm gonna put him in very hard. You need to be insanely smart with your positioning, otherwise you die instantly. You need to be really good mechanically. He's a really hard hero. If we put this video out, I think everyone's gonna hate me. It's mostly so you know what you could get into in an easier way. Maybe I wanna move D.Va up to the very hard tier. And also, I'll move Soldier, Reinhardt up to the hard tier. Hate on me. I'm a Soldier main. I'm biased. Ramattra. He is a pretty hard hero to play. He doesn't play like a classic tank. He's very aim intensive. His normal left click is insanely hard to hit. It's a very slow firing projectile, but it's not as spammy as Orisa's because you need to hit the headshots. I would say aim wise, he's probably the hardest tank in the game. He also is very fast paced. You cannot stand still with him. The shield is only up for a second or two, and you constantly change form. He's very aggressive. You need to be super aware of your positioning. That being said, he's not the hardest out of all characters. I would say he requires less skill than Monkey. And I would put him right in... Yeah, let's put him in lower end of hard. Right. Boop. I think I got it right. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. We have a lot of videos coming in the next few weeks. I'm really excited. There's an aim guide that might be out already or will be uploaded like very soon. We'll drop the updated tier list for the best and worst heroes. So a normal tier list. We're gonna rate every single hero from S to D tier. So you know what to pick, what to climb the best with. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye, guys.